some insights in the news shaping the markets. For that, we welcome in Joy Yang, Head of Product Management at Market Vector Indexes. Thank you so much for being with us. We have a jobs report on Friday. We have a market that may be up 6 weeks in a row. How are you feeling at this point?
Hi, Nicole. So I think what we're feeling is this is still very much a macro-driven market. So investors are watching Fed action, interest rate, recession. And I think what we saw last week was that the Fed guidance has still been very cautious, but they have been very consistent. And they have been saying all along they're looking for convincing data, and their target is 2%. So the data so far, I think it's been towards the positive side, where we're seeing that the data is showing that the labor market is slowing or cooling down, but consumer spending is still pretty strong. So the economy has been, holding up. So the data is also pointing that inflation is resilient. What's surprising is the markets are reacting pretty optimistically. As you said, it's been going up. And this is in contrast to the message that we've been hearing from the Fed, which is to be cautious.
And so at this point now, for example, when we saw the ADP print today, where it rose 103,000, the expectations was 123,000. What is it telling you overall about the jobs picture? What's important to you for Friday, too?
I think we're still looking for, strong, convincing data. So labor market is showing there is some kind of softening, but is it because people are, not relocating? Again, with the consumer data, it's showing that consumer demand is strong, but that was a weekend, and we have a whole season of shopping to do. And with the emphasis now, or with the ability to click and pay, pretty quickly, or click and pay later or return later, we know that some of this data may be lagged, and some of this data may have further implications when you look further along. So I think it's still, we need to wait and see. Some of these data is coming out in drips and drabs, but we're looking for really strong trends.
Right, understood. That being said, you have different sectors that you're following most closely. Gold, for example. Do you think gold has some more room to the upside after crossing 2,100 just recently?
Yeah, I think, last week, a lot of people were talking about the technical indicators that, this is a good cross. It sets a new level. What we saw earlier this week, yesterday, was a retrenchment, but I think that's fair given how quickly it crossed the line. So we may be seeing some people taking money off the table. We may be some people covering their positions, but what we need to look at are the long-term drivers of gold, and we see those are very strong, which are central banks are still buying a lot of gold. We're starting to see strong Asian retail demand for it, although we had been year to date seeing negative outflows for US ETFs. We're starting to see that revert to people starting to look at gold ETFs again. So we're starting to see flows across different diversified investors back into gold. We know if interest rates are going down, this will be a strong driver for gold, as well as dollar weakens. These are going to be strong long-term drivers for gold.
Right, understood. How about defense? You have the Global Defense Industry Index that you've been watching. You mentioned Palantir as one of the names. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we've been watching defense because we're looking at themes that are maybe independent of some of these macro drivers or inflation, and defense is a good one. What we've seen this year is a strong interest in AI, but also, unfortunately, with some of the geopolitical risk and challenges, we've seen governments and countries refocus back into investing in defense. And we know that government investing has historically been in very interesting sectors or themes that have led to innovation. And this is one where, money has been going back into defense. Palantir started its history out as a defense contractor, and now we've seen that the research and investment into AI has really taken off, and it's one of the strong growth areas for some of these companies.
Joy, I wanted to ask you about the energy story here. We have it now below $70 a barrel. What are your thoughts there? Because that was the one sector that is to the downside for the month of November. Is there opportunity there?
There's always going to be opportunities as we look into going into winter, and whether or not there are going to be extreme weather patterns that increase energy prices, but also we have alternative energy. So we're looking at nuclear and uranium, which have been really actually going up and pretty strong year to date.
Right, understood. Joy Yang, Market Vector Indexes, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.